So guys, Tim's Trades. We're going to do a bit of a technical analysis video today, and we're going to focus on the Fibonacci extension tool. I use it so much, to be honest with you. I use it, that's like the first thing I tend to go to when I'm looking for trading and when I'm looking for entries and exits. Let's talk briefly about the Fibonacci extension. It's fundamentally a tool designed to give you an exit when you've already entered a trade. But I think it does a lot more than that. Let me do a very brief example. What we got here, we've got Ethereum on the daily. Let's just do a very quick Fibonacci and you'll get an understanding of what I mean. So we're going to just use this area here, this price bottom twice here. I'm going to take it all the way up to here, and then I'm going to bring it back down, and then we're just going to pull that across. So there's an extension, okay? And what it's fundamentally doing is giving you targets for an exit off this trade. We would assume that you'd entered somewhere on this kind of pullback here. You've entered your trade, and now it's telling you, right, where can you get out? And you've got the series of numbers. These are Fibonacci numbers. I'm not going to do the history of Fibonacci. You can look that up on the internet. The idea with the Fibonacci, or the theory behind the Fibonacci numbers, are based on this people's psychology, and they suggest that people are going to be kind of taking profits at various numbers based on psychology. Now that very well may be the case. I just think it's a lot simpler than that, and my theory is basically that because everyone else is using these tools, then the numbers work, you know. And there are kind of key areas I tend to look at depending on where we're going. And if it's for an extension, for a target to the upside, I always target around about the 1-to-1 for my exit. Now on a daily time frame, that's a really long trade, so you know that's fine. But most traders are looking to take profits more quickly than that, and so then you've got the kind of other middle of the road number there, your 0.5, or what people call the golden pocket, the 618. And you can see in this instance here, you got this quite strong move up, and it magically touched the 618. So you know they are powerful, and I just reiterate what I said. They're powerful because I think other people are using them. Now this is on the daily time frame, but you can actually zoom down, and these things work like, as far as I'm concerned, they work like magic right down on the really small time frames as well. Now, I recently illustrated that quite nicely on an Ethereum video I did, where I identified some targets which worked out absolutely amazingly, and they've continued to do that. So let's talk about where do you know to place them in the first place. And the real kind of point of this video is going to be trying to encourage you guys, first to use them, but to understand where to place them. Now, that can be trial and error. Initially, you can just stick it anywhere and you can see, oh, look, those numbers seem to be lining up. Or what I do is look for what appear to be important areas of accumulation, you know, or kind of high areas or low areas, you know. And for extensions, they can work in both directions. If you are, you know, in this instance here, price is clearly corrected. It's corrected from the 24th all the way down here. So we could argue that on the short term, this is a downtrend. So we can place our extension. Let's see, look, I just immediately came to this area. This is where I got this. It was just this area of accumulation here. And I drew a little Fibonacci extension down to this point and then back to here. And in the video I shared, this was my entry, and it worked out absolutely perfectly. You know, we got entered here, the price moved up. It got stopped at the 0.5. It came back to retest exactly back down on that 1-to-1, and then it worked its merry way back up through the levels. You know, you can see they're tested back on the 0.5, then it tested the 382, and then all the way up to the 236, and then eventually it broke out the top. And I would suggest to you, at the point where on these micro levels the Fibonacci's become invalid is when they kind of break above. So this downside move was invalidated with a break back above to the upside. I was taking profits all the way along here, so it worked out for me. And now we can, I guess you could do the opposite. You might say, okay, now the trend has flipped and we're in an uptrend here. So where are we going to run a Fibonacci extension this time? And I'm going to say to you, well, we'll just take it from this double bottom here. And I would say the next key point is that move up there and down here. And let's see what it brings up. I have not pre-recorded this, it's totally live. I never do any kind of takes, I just go for it and see how it goes. And as you can see, again, we've got some confluence in these numbers. You've got the 618, the golden pocket, was after this first move up, price was rejected, came back down, and it smashed its way on through there up to the 1-to-1, peaked out a wee bit, but then eventually got broken back down, stopped again around the 786 on the way back, and then eventually kind of broke down here. So again, in terms of entries here, let's say you're a scalp trader, which I'm not a scalp trader, but I tend to trade swing trades on, maybe like the 4 hour or something. If I got an entry, I'm not suggesting I get a perfect entry here. If I got this fib running, I would certainly be looking to take some money off the table here, and it's giving you that. It's fantastic, At which point you just wait and see what happens. In this case, we got all the way up to the 1-to-1, and then I'm watching price action again. And then let's just zoom down even further and see if we can get something going into the future here. What have we got? Well, we've got this, haven't we? We've got this low here. We've got this high, and then we've got this. What's going to give us? Like immediately, if you'd coming down here, you would have got the 786 in this case. I'm suggesting to you that let's look at this. Let's look at this as a live trade. We're shoving a wee LARP line. Price breaks down. The most obvious accumulation is right here. Price is going to break down. It could potentially bounce there, and then we're going to get a move minimum to the 1-to-1, and I think the market's going to be relatively bullish, so we probably get the 1.618 in this case, and I'm suggesting that we're on Ethereum here, not Bitcoin, we get this move up to the 1.618. You heard it here first. There it is, target. Sorry, that's not the point of this video. The point is to kind of practice using our Fibonacci extension. So let's go back in time a bit more, and oops, I'm not supposed to be running one now, Timbo, you belter. Get it off. Let's go back in time and just choose some price action. Gonna try and help you guys identify some nice areas. Here we go. We've got this beautiful accumulation here, so let's shove on a Fibonacci extension. Now, what's an important point for me? I think we would call this a whole move up here, and we'll just drop it on that lowest wick and see what it gives us. Okay, so let's say we entered here. You got to move to the 382. Beautiful. Take profit. What you're going to do now, you're going to wait for price to turn around. Perhaps, it's a really choppy period here. But as you look through price action, you can see these numbers are always respected. 382 again, 0.5, breaks through the 0.5, breaks through the 618, that golden pocket, retests that. That then becomes support. We've got to move through the 786, and then finally that 1-to-1 is reached, So if you'd got back in here, that would have been your next target. Let's go on the 4 hour. Get rid of the chop a wee bit, and you'll find that when you do that, you see that price often accumulates. You might see wicks going crazy, but you can see that price kind of accumulates in between these regions, and it's just again that illustration of how powerful a very, very simple Fibonacci extension can be in your trading on the short term and long term time frames. Everyone is using them on the macro, and if you watched my last video, we were looking at Bitcoin on the weekly, and it just gives you fantastic kind of areas. It really does. What else can we see? I can see a nice period of accumulation here, so immediately I'm thinking, alright, I'm going to run a Fibonacci extension from this point here. I'm going to take it to that high, and I'm going to bring it here, and let's see what it gives us this time. Here we go. Here, that 786 has been important in this case. You got that move up, smash through these, but then price eventually, if even going the daily in this case, you're going to see that price, the 786, yeah, it got up there and it tested it, and then it's chopping in between the 618 and the 786, finally breaking out right through here and down again already, and then coming back even to test back on the 786. So fantastic in terms of giving you these little price targets. Oops, zoomed onto the 1-to-1 there. I was want to try and zoom right in. Let's try something on here's one I've done previously. Let's go right down to the 15 minute, and let's see if we can get really, really micro fibs to give us some idea. So if you want to get into your scalp trading, you could do that using these fibs. Let's do an inverse fib. Wow, that was a serious candle wick there. I wonder what happened there. Let's use this accumulation here and see if the fib gives us anything on these crazy candle wicks, and see if they even can outsmart a Fibonacci. So what you would do is you're looking for price to come down in this case, because you would see a bearish wick there, sideways. No, nothing really happened in this case. That wick was it, wasn't it? Really, it didn't even break below any of these numbers, and then price went sideways, and then up. So nothing in this instance. Got some serious chop. What period was this? December 2023, 15 minutes. Let's zoom in even further. Let's use some of this crazy chop here to see if it can give us anything at all. Let's try this. up to there and then down here. Let's see if it gives us anything. Yeah, it certainly does on the way up here. Initially here, actually 618, that golden pocket again coming up. Well, you could argue that before that, if you were trading, you got stopped on the 382 down, didn't want to come below the 236 and then up to the 618. You know, you can see that as a scalper, these would be fantastic. If you were good enough to get a really top entry there, you would be immediately scalping out at the top side of that 382 and then the 618. Again, your targets are always getting met, particularly the 1-to-1. I will normally eventually get hit. That's hence the reason I stuck that that Fibonacci extension back on there. So yeah, what are the key takeaways on this guy? One, practice using your Fibonacci extension and look for areas of interest. Look for important key areas. This one here is obviously a key thing. You've got sideways movements. This is currently an uptrend. You've got these stepping stones, and I'd be very surprised that we couldn't measure out these stepping stones all the way. Where does it kind of start? Let's have a quick look at this. Here. Bam. Yeah, look at that. 1-to-1. Gives us the 1-to-1. Gives us the 1.618. Gives you the 2.618. You know, it's incredible how good these are. And god damn, I moved the whole thing. I wanted to just drag it along. Just that bit, please. Does it even help us out all the way up this? It certainly does, all the way up. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. We only did a tiny little Fibonacci extension down here, and it's given us the levels every single way up almost, you know. It's absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, as I say, I encourage you guys to get wired into these little fibs. Practice using them. Just play around with them, you know, and you'll soon get a feel for where to drop the lines in, you know. And I'm sure it'll improve your trading. It'll give you more confidence in your entries and exits. More importantly, exits in a Fibonacci extension. But I also use them for entries. So there you go. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Cheers, guys.